This man spent nearly 40 years cheating Las Vegas casinos out of their money by rigging slot machines. What started as a random television repair business eventually turned him into a master of manipulating the mechanics of slot machines, and with his skills, he developed several advanced cheating tools that guaranteed him huge instant wins. To make things worse, this man even collaborated with other casino fraudsters to form a group of cheats that would cause Las Vegas casinos to lose millions of dollars every single year. Tommy Glenn Carmichael was born in the mid-1950s when technology started advancing more rapidly. As a child, Tommy showed a great interest in mechanical and electrical devices. He wanted to know how and why a piece of technology works the way it does. His interests led to his chosen profession as a television repairman. He decided to open a television merchandise and repair shop in the 1980s. His shop was called Ace TV Sales and Service and was located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tommy's business was an instant success, and that's because it was the first of its kind in Tulsa. But over the years, more and more stores like it started to open up, leading to increased competition. It wasn't long before Tommy began to lose enough revenue to keep the business going. Tommy, who had been married 4 times and divorced 3, turned to recreational drugs, which led to his arrest and several minor convictions for possession. While still doing community service for his earlier convictions, his business was folding up, and his 3 divorces also didn't help the matter. His life was simply falling apart right before his eyes. He needed money to get back in shape. It was then he realized that his small town could not offer him the kind of life he wanted. Tommy also wanted the American dream, where he would possess fancy cars as well as big mansions. While he was sitting in his repair shop during the dark phase of his life, one day, his friend from high school, Ray Ming, who was living in Las Vegas, walked in. This unexpected guest radically transformed Tommy's life. Upon his arrival, he gave a gift to Tommy. He simply asked Tommy to approach his car and open the trunk. In the trunk was a miniature Bally slot machine. Yet the main surprise was the classic cheater's tool used for hacking slots at that time. It was called the top-bottom joint. What else could the gift have suggested for Tommy, especially considering his situation and how he was looking for a solution to his misery? In short, he was handed what he needed to start rigging casino slot machines. Though the device appeared simple to use, Ming was unable to use it. He hoped that a tech-savvy friend such as Tommy would be able to find his way around the nuances of the device to his benefit. He's spot on. After his friend drove back to Las Vegas, Tommy wasted no time and took the machine apart. He needed to understand the mechanics of the slot machine and how to use the top-bottom joint to his advantage. After many hours of practice, he understood how he could cheat casinos of their money. He closed his repair shop, grabbed his wife, and headed to Nevada, eager to put the top-bottom joint to work. But since it was his first time, Tommy decided to use this strategy on one of the nickel machines in Sin City. Interestingly, after this attempt, he walked off with $35, which he won in just a few minutes. Although that was a chicken feed compared to what would come later, it was enough to assure him that he was onto something big. So yeah, it's safe to say that was Tommy's eureka moment. He then moved on to other machines in various casinos across Las Vegas, winning nearly $10,000 in one weekend. Tommy would spend the next few years accumulating millions of dollars from casinos on the Strip by using these strategies. The casinos became more aware of cheaters' tools such as the one Tommy was using, so they decided to upgrade their machines with the latest available technology. Hence, casinos adopted random number generators, RNGs, in slot machines, which made traditional cheating methods obsolete. This change caused Tommy to spend more time at smaller gambling halls that couldn't afford the advanced technology employed by larger casinos. But his dream fell apart on Independence Day in 1985, right at a Denny's near the Strip. Unknown to him, the police had been following him for nearly a week, fully aware of his notorious cheating methods. They had documented his every move, waiting for the perfect moment to catch him red-handed. On that fateful day, after drinking a cup of coffee, he headed to a nearby slot machine. Moments later, the police came in and slammed him against the wall to search and arrest him. Before he could consider getting rid of the evidence, they discovered the top-bottom joint in his coat pocket. Despite his claim that the tool was used to start his car, the police knew better. Sadly, the tool would become the primary evidence against him during his trial. With the discovery of the cheating device and Tommy's knowledge that the police were aware it was a cheating tool, he had no more excuses to offer. He was promptly arrested and convicted. Given that he was already on probation for drug possession, the judge showed no leniency. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, and he was still on probation for drug possession. Even in the face of a 5-year prison sentence, Tommy wasn't scared a bit. He remained defiant and unshaken, confident that his imprisonment would only be a temporary setback. Tommy knew he'd be out soon and was already planning his comeback. While Tommy was in prison, slot machines had changed significantly from their early days. German mechanics in San Francisco created the first slot machines in the early 1870s. However, it wasn't until around 1900 that the Liberty Bell machine became the standard. This machine had 3 spinning wheels with symbols like bells, horseshoes, and hearts. Although slot machines became popular during Prohibition, it took a while to dominate casino floors. Unlike the skilled, high-stakes games like poker and blackjack, slot machines were seen as simple games of chance with small payouts. The machines were placed on the edges of the casino floor and were often looked down upon as games for bored wives waiting while their husbands gambled. One Atlantic City casino vice president said the machines had the Rodney Dangerfield syndrome because they didn't get any respect. The notion began to change in 1963, when Bally Manufacturing introduced the Money Honey, widely considered the first modern slot machine. The Money Honey featured lights and sound effects, making the game more exciting. More importantly, it had a 2,500 coin hopper. Before the Money Honey, when a player hit a jackpot, they had to wait for a casino staff member to verify the win and pay them in cash. As casino operator Warren Butcher said, "This didn't just slow up play, it kind of suggested closure, an end to the game. It tempted the customer to cease and walk out the door with his winnings." However, with a 2,500 coin hopper, players were more likely to keep feeding their winnings back into the machine. This made gameplay continuous and seemingly endless. Every phase of the slot machine's development led to new cheating methods. It started with tricks like using plugged nickels and coins on strings. At one point, people even figured out that they could pour laundry detergent into the slot instead of using money. How someone discovered this trick remains a mystery. Someone also discovered that they could jam the gears by pulling their arms at a precise moment. Over time, more sophisticated cheating tools emerged, like the shim, which could manipulate Mills and Buckley machines, and Jenny's shaker, which allowed players to move the reels. Even the top-bottom joint, which Tommy used, worked for a while. However, it was old-fashioned when he was arrested at Denny's. While in prison, Tommy met Michael Balsamo, who was also convicted of the same crime. They became friends, and rather than think of how to reform their behavior, they spent their downtime scheming how they could team up and take down the casinos together once they were released. When that long-awaited freedom finally came in May 1987, the two men eagerly anticipated putting their plans into action. However, they soon discovered that things had changed drastically. The methods that had once worked for them were now ineffective against the advanced technology of modern slot machines. The casinos had upgraded their security measures, integrating sophisticated technologies that thwarted traditional cheating methods. One of these advancements was the video poker slot machine, which was launched by Bally, an international game technology, just a few months before Tommy was released from prison. Unlike older models, they were designed to resist interference from primitive mechanical tools. Even small casinos had switched to slot machines using enhanced random number generators and microprocessors. This technological shift posed a daunting challenge for Tommy and other would-be cheaters who relied on mechanical manipulation to beat casino slots. But Tommy was well prepared for the challenge ahead. He knew there had to be a way around these new obstacles and was determined to find a solution. Through the 1990s, he searched for a way to cheat the latest slot machines. He needed a new tool to replace the outdated device that had landed him in prison. So, he decided to acquire a Fortune 1 video poker machine. He would study the unit and probably develop a cheating method that would work. But there was a problem. He lacked the financial capacity to acquire the machine. Yet, Tommy was not deterred. Soon, he found a way out. He took on multiple minimum wage and part-time jobs to get enough money to buy a video poker machine. Nearly 6 months later, he acquired the video poker machine. Then he brought it home. Now, there was another problem. He had to thoroughly understand the mechanics of the machine to enable him to beat it. He toiled on the poker machine night and day in his Vegas apartment, but no matter how and what he tried, some riddle in the unit would thwart him. After more than a year of relentless trial and error, a breakthrough finally came to him in a moment of clarity during sleep. Tommy got out of bed and set to work. Piece by piece, he constructed an ingenious creation, naming it the monkey paw. Uniquely named, this cheating tool was made from the exact string used for guitars in flexible spring steel. The piece of guitar string constituted the bottom part of the cheating tool. It went into the left corner of the machine, up against the circuit board, sending low wattage electricity coursing through the unit. As for the top part, it was a flexible spring steel. When inserted into the coin slot, it completed a circuit powerful enough to hotwire the hopper, where the coins are kept, fooling it into spitting out its payload, and you simply have a jackpot. The monkey paw worked very well, with Tommy earning at least $1,000 an hour. In his words, that's a credit card that will never run out. He simply moved from one machine to the next, leaving the slots almost empty. The monkey paw brought him a steady flow of easy money. Tommy enjoyed his fortune. He felt invincible as he worked his way through various casinos, confident in the capabilities of his creation. With a new device, he was ahead of casino security measures. But winning is always short-lived, and the slot cheat business says casino security continually evolves. Less than 2 years after the monkey paw's invention, new advancements in slot machine technology and security features emerged. These innovations were designed to detect and prevent the kind of manipulation that the monkey paw relied on, rendering Tommy's ingenious device obsolete again. While the monkey paw method didn't last long, it gave Tommy a considerable boost of confidence. Reflecting on the famous words of Archimedes, "Give me a lever and a place to stand, and I will move the earth." Tommy crafted his own declaration of defiance. Give me a slot machine, and I'll beat it. With his self-assurance, Tommy set out once again to find a more discreet and effective cheating tool. He understood that the game was constantly changing, and that staying ahead required continuous innovation. In 1992, Tommy took a bold step to regain his edge in slot machine cheating. He visited the International Game Technology Showroom, IGT, a leading slots manufacturer disguised as a casino owner trying to buy a new slot machine. His goal was to understand why the monkey's paw was no longer working and to find a new way to exploit the latest machines. Tommy engaged in conversation with an IGT engineer. He cleverly maneuvered the discussion to a point where he could ask for a closer look inside one of the machines. To his amazement and delight, the engineer complied and opened the machine, explaining its inner workings. Within a few seconds, the engineer opened the machine, and Tommy had already gotten the mechanics that had made the new slot machine tick. This glimpse was all he needed to start formulating a new plan. Tommy bought one of the machines to further his investigation at home. Back in his apartment, Tommy worked tirelessly, drawing on the insights he had gleaned from the IGT engineer. In a matter of days, he developed a new cheating device he called the light wand. This ingenious tool consisted of a camera battery and a miniature light bulb designed to manipulate the machine's sensors and disrupt its normal operation. Actually, the slot machine employed an electronic sensor to keep track of how many coins were being dispensed by the hopper, which was crucial to ensure payouts were accurate. Tommy's invention, the light wand, turned out to be a highly effective tool to manipulate this system. The light wand worked by shining a bright light into the machine, specifically targeting the electronic sensor. When the sensor was exposed to the intense light, it became blinded, effectively rendering it unable to accurately count the coins being dispensed. This blindness made the sensor oblivious to the actual number of coins being released from the hopper. Consider it this way. You insert $100 into the machine and then request a payout. Under normal circumstances, the machine would dispense an amount equivalent to what was put in. However, with the light wand, things changed dramatically. The machine could be tricked into dispensing far more than it should by blinding the sensor. The light wand was Tommy's most devastating invention yet. Costing just $2.50 to build, Tommy began to sell the invention to other slot cheats on the black market. Without going near a machine, he started getting $10,000 from the sales of copies of the device. The proliferation of the light wand was so extensive that gambling authority Jason England named the mid-90s the light wand era. It was probably the device that took more money out of the industry than any other, England said, estimating the financial damage in the high hundreds of millions. At this time, Tommy had finally realized his version of the American dream. His success in cheating casinos had afforded him a life of luxury and comfort. He owned a house in Rancho Bel Air and a luxurious Jaguar XJ6. He opened his pawn shop and paid his taxes on time, presenting himself as a law-abiding citizen. Yet he continued his clandestine operations. In his personal life, Tommy enjoyed being in the company of an exotic topless dancer. She wasn't just a romantic partner, but also an accomplice in his schemes, assisting him in manipulating the video slot machines. Together, they formed a formidable team, exploiting casino vulnerabilities. Tommy's operations extended far beyond the confines of Las Vegas. He acquired a mobile home with which he traveled across the United States, targeting casinos in Connecticut, Colorado, and Louisiana. His mobile home allowed him to stay under the radar while executing his schemes, moving swiftly from one location to the next to avoid detection. Interestingly, Tommy didn't withhold his knowledge and expertise, especially from his colleagues. He shared his experience with family scammers, teaching them how to hack slot machines. He even sold invented tools to strangers. By the time Tommy returned to Nevada after the cruise bonanza, he teamed up with Ramon David Pereira and his former partner Michael Balsamo to form one of the most well-known groups of cheating professionals to ever exist. They added a few more people to the group. These people also had experience in cheating casinos in the past. With different people in the group, there were different aspects to cheating the casinos, and each group member had a role to play. For instance, there were people on the lookout to ensure security wasn't paying too much attention to their actions. They were known as blockers, and would strategically stand in places that would hinder the cameras from seeing the cheaters in action. They usually received about 20% of the take. Tommy's gang eventually hit almost every casino on the Las Vegas Strip, occasionally traveling to Atlantic City casinos too. They were able to rake in more than $5 million from casinos nationwide in 2 years. It was around this time that Tommy became romantically involved with Lisa Luxem, a stripper from one of the casinos where he gambled and cheated. Tommy was at his height of his inventive powers during his stint as a casino cheat. Even when IGT installed the actuator arm to counter the light wand, it only took Tommy just over an hour of challenge to come up with the hanger. See? Just talk of any improved slot security, and Tommy will beat it hands down. He was that insane. And for your information, slot cheats are nothing compared to table game cheats. If one cheats at table games, one merely siphons money from fellow gamblers. But by cheating at slots, one's shortchanging the casino. For this reason, slots are nicknamed one-armed bandits, with many people believing their gains are ill-gotten. Omar Little in The Wire once admitted that slot cheat involves stealing money that's already dirty. The same thing goes for one notorious cheater named Timothy John Childs, who once listed slot cheat as his occupation on a loan application. Tommy's enterprise flourished for the first 4 years until the end of 1996, when he got busted with a second-generation light wand at Circus Casino, where there was the first canary in the coal mine. On that particular night, he was sitting in front of a slot machine, flanked by Luxem and one other woman. However, unknown to him, new surveillance cameras that he was unaware of had been installed. The cameras could see past the blockers and eyed his every move. As soon as he started using his light wand tool to manipulate the machine, security guards rushed in with handcuffs to take him into custody. However, somehow, he managed to get rid of evidence while being arrested. Tommy was charged on accounts of cheating, possessing a cheating device, and manufacturing a cheating device. However, since there wasn't enough evidence to retain him for long, the charges against him were dropped, and Tommy was released less than 24 hours later. And Tommy continued his cheating operations. However, There was no time he got off law enforcement's radar. In 1998, he was arrested again in Laughlin, Nevada. Luckily, he escaped punishment again, making the FBI get involved. At that time, he was dreaming up his most ambitious device ever. He would later describe it to the television show Breaking Vegas, written by Peter Fruchtman. According to him, he intended to name the device the Tongue, which would enable him to steal about $2,000 per second by loading up machines with credits and then cashing out. His plan was to grab $1 million over 6 months and retire. But the plan was short-lived. In 1999, Tommy was apprehended again, this time with 7 of his gang. It turned out that informants had been supplying authorities with crucial information. Also, federal wiretaps had been recording him and his crew discussing the Tongue. If successful, their operation would have jeopardized the entire slot industry. No small thanks to the efforts of the Joint Task Force in thwarting the plan. In 2001, all 7 eventually pleaded guilty. Tommy admitted to operating an illegal gambling enterprise, America's most wanted cheating operation. He was sentenced to 11 months in prison with 3 years probation. In addition to that, he forfeited his 2 homes. The judge also ordered him to stay out of casinos. At this time, it was estimated that his gang had stolen over $5 million across several casinos. With such a sentence, Tommy probably thought he would find his way back into the enterprise once he finished serving his term. But then, the Black Book came. Created in 1960, the Black Book was developed to keep organized crime out of the Nevada gaming industry. Any name placed in the book is automatically forbidden from entering a casino. Apart from that, once a name is on it, it's almost impossible to get out. Since he'd already lost his house and car, he resigned to fate and moved back to Tulsa, which means the American dream was over. But the Edison of the Strip claimed he had changed his heart and wanted to right his wrong. He then invented the Protector, an anti-cheating device for slot machines. At the time, he estimated that he was responsible for 99% of cheating devices used by most cheaters, and that the Protector was the one solution he'd always been afraid the manufacturers would discover. When any sort of light is shown inside the machine, the Protector would trigger the unit to shut down. In 2002, Tommy sold his patent, which ended up in the possession of iGames Entertainment. The device was approved by Nevada regulators and sold to Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines for use in its casinos. When the Nevada Gaming Commission discovered that iGames Entertainment's anti-cheating device had been invented by Tommy, they launched an investigation into its legitimacy. Nevada Deputy Attorney General Jennifer Carvalho said this regarding Tommy's anti-cheating inventions. He says he has developed an anti-cheating device for slot machines. However, that device can be readily converted to a cheating device. During a public hearing, the Nevada Gaming Commission debated whether to list Tommy's name in the state's Black Book of people barred from casinos. This decision aimed to safeguard the casino industry, where players wager billions of dollars yearly to play slot machines in the state. Eventually, the commission voted to put his name in the book. When Tommy learned he was going in the book, he didn't contest it. Instead, he remarked, "They cannot stand the thought of me righting a wrong and possibly making a little money off it." Of course, they couldn't have trusted Tommy. The Protector could be a Trojan horse for every slot, they thought. He could easily reprogram it and continue his haunting of the slot machine industry. Jerry Kreiner once stated that Tommy had the best inventiveness in terms of creating cheating tools. Only an inventor of a cheating device would know the right anti-cheating device for it. For this reason, Tommy's anti-cheating device, the Protector, is still in use today. Although Tommy would no longer have the opportunity to cheat casinos as he died in 2019, his legacy endures as a notorious figure in the annals of casino history. And that brings us to the end of the story of probably the largest casino slot cheat in history. If you found the story interesting, don't hesitate to like and share the video. And remember to subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.